you, Josh here. In this week's guitar lesson we are checking out the intro to Hotel California by the Eagles. Now this song is pretty iconic for beginner guitarists, so we're going to delve in bar by bar. So the first thing we need to do for the intro to Hotel California is place a capo on our 7th fret. So the very first chord we're going to play is an E minor, but what we're going to do is just place our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and we're going to strum this chord. So we're going to strum from the D string downwards. Then quickly after this chord comes along a picking pattern. Okay, so we've got so to play this, we just keep our middle finger on the 2nd fret D where it is. Okay, the rest are open strings. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick the D string again. Then we're going to go to the G string, and then to the D string, then to the B string, back to the D, to the G, and then to the high E. Okay, so if we do that section slowly, we've got okay, and then once more. What I recommend you do is start slow and then gradually build your speed up using a metronome. And then the final little bit in this bar, it's an open G. And then we're going to put our middle finger down on the 2nd fret G, and we're going to hit the G and the B string. Okay. And then the next chord, we're going to place our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the D, our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G, and then our 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string. Okay, and then this goes straight into a picking pattern. Okay, so we've got that is D string, then G, then 2 B strings, then a high E, then a G, then a B, and then back to D. Okay, so D, G, B, B, E, G, B, D. Okay, and then slow once more. That's the end of that bar, so there's a little rest in between. So what we do for the 3rd bar is we place our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G, and then our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B. Okay, and we're going to split this bar in half because it changes a little bit halfway through. Okay, so in terms of what strings we pick, we've got the D, then G, then 2 Bs again, then a high E. Okay, and we're just going to get this bit down. Okay, and if I slow it down, and then after this high E, you kind of pause a little bit, and then you pick the B string, and then the D, G, B. Okay, so we got, okay, and then we pick the A, the G, and the B string, but we're going to remove our 3rd finger. Okay, so we're just pressing down on the 2nd fret G. Okay, so if we put these 2 halves of this bar together really slow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the really important part in this 3rd bar is that gap between the high E and the B string. And also remembering to lift your 3rd finger off the 3rd fret B for that last pick. So for the 4th bar, we're going to put our 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the A, and we're going to put our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. So the picking pattern for this bar is A, D, G, D, B, G, G, high E. So that is the first 4 bars of this intro, and what we're going to do is start from the first bar and work our way to the end of the 4th bar. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then for the next bar, we are putting our fingers into a C major shape. Okay, so if you don't know what the C major shape is, it is our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A, and then our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D, then our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B. So the picking pattern for this, again, we're going to split this bar in half. Okay, so we've got A, D, G, D, B, D, G, high E. Okay, so if we slow it down again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then similar to the 3rd bar, there's also a little gap between this high E and then the 2nd bit of this bar. Okay, so if I demonstrate the bar, okay, so you got this high open E, and then the last bit of the bar, we pick A, and we pick B, and then what we do is we remove our middle finger, and then we pick the D string and hammer it onto the 2nd, and then pick the G string. So we've got A, B, hammer onto D, G. Okay, and then if we put this bar together, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's also important to note that there is a slight pause when you pick the very first note on the A string. Okay, so it's pick, and then again after the high E there's a slight pause. So the 6th bar in this intro is based around a G major chord. Okay, so we're going to put our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A, our 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, and our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the high E. Again, we're going to split this bar in half. Okay, so we're going to go. Okay, so that is D, high E, B, G, high E, D, B. So again, on the first note there's a bit of a pause, so we pick the D string, little pause, and then high E, B, G, high E, D, B. And then after that, what we do is we play the A, then the high E and the B string, and then we play the low E, D, B. Okay, so let's put this bar together slowly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when we get to the 2nd fret A, okay, there's a slight pause again. We pick the high E, then the B, and then we pick the low E on the 3rd. Slight pause again, and then D and B. Okay, so let's put the whole bar together slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next chord we play is an A minor 7. Now this is pretty easy, it's your A minor shape, but you remove your third finger. Okay, so you put your first finger on the first fret of the B string, then our second finger on the second fret of the D string. And then the picking pattern we're going to do is we're going to go A, D, G, D, B, D, B, high E. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the second section of this bar, what we do is we just put our second finger on the second fret of the D. Okay, so that stays there. We remove our first finger and we go D, G, low E, D, B. Okay, once again we go D, G, low E, D, B. Okay, so let's put the bar together slowly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the final chord is a B7 chord. Now this is quite a tight little chord, okay, because you've got the capo there. But we will put our second finger on the second fret of the A, first finger on the first fret of the D string, and then we're going to put our third finger just behind on the second fret of the G, and then we're going to put our little finger on the second fret of the high E. You can get away with removing your little finger because we only really need that for the very last note. Okay, so you can just put your finger on for that note. It's up to you. Okay, so the picking pattern for this is A, D, G, G, B, D, G, high E. Okay, so if we slow it down, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, once again, 3, 4. Okay, so let's put these 4 bars that we've just learnt together. Okay, so this is the second half of the verse. So we're starting from our C shape. Okay, so if we do it slow, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's pull it up to speed. Okay, so what we're going to do is play the whole intro slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the intro to Hotel California. Now the original track, the tempo is fairly quick, especially when you're picking all these notes. So what I recommend you do is go through bar by bar, make sure you get the picking pattern down, start off slow and then build up to the track tempo. If you enjoyed the lesson, click like, click subscribe, click the bell and you'll be notified each time I upload a lesson.